So today I want to talk a bit about how you can eat up, slim down, and get healthy. Now, normally when I would give a talk like this, I could see everyone in the audience. And what I would ask you is there anyone here today that has ever wanted to lose weight? And usually quite a few hands go up. And every now and then I have given this talk to only medical doctors, and not a single hand has gone up. And I would say, well, do you know anybody that might like to lose weight? And then definitely every hand goes up, because as I'm sure you know, and you've heard from some of the other experts, we pretty much have an obesity epidemic in this country. Over 70% of people are overweight or obese. And if you talk to Dr. Furman, he says the BMI numbers are skewed, and it's really more like almost 90%. So pretty much everyone either needs to or wants to lose weight, or perhaps knows someone who does. But what I'm here to tell you is the way that I am going to propose to eat for what I call ultimate weight loss is the same way that most of the speakers and medical doctors on this conference, and the ones that I have the privilege to work with and for, will tell you is still the best way to eat for health, longevity, disease prevention, and disease reversal. And I call this the secrets to ultimate weight loss. So why am I so passionate about this? Well, I like to say that the only time before the last 10 years that I was ever at my ideal weight was the day I was born. I was born to a morbidly obese mother, and I became overweight at the tender age of 5. And by the age of 11, I weighed 160 pounds, and I was not yet even 5 feet tall, and that is obese. Now, unfortunately, I lived in Sherman Oaks, California during the Northridge earthquake, so I don't have pictures to show you my whole life, but hopefully you will believe me. But I do have photos after the earthquake to show you that in my 40s, the photo on the left, I was close to 200 pounds. The photo on the right was taken when I was 60 years old. On the left, the photo was taken when I was 50. On the right, that was taken when I was 60 years old. And the photo on the left was taken when I was 42 years old. I weighed about 165 pounds there. I'm wearing a brown shirt, and I'm standing next to an 800-pound brown cow. The cow is the one on the left. And on the right, I was 52 years old and weighed about 127 pounds. And I'm now 62 years old and weigh about 10 pounds less than that. And I've been able to easily achieve and maintain my trim ideal weight. I did that 10 years ago, and I've been able to maintain it ever since using the secrets that I'm going to share with you today. Now, I can distill what I call the secret to ultimate weight loss into 2 words. Those words are not eat less, which is what most diets will tell you to do. They're not exercise more, which is what most people will tell you to do if they're trying to lose weight. And they're certainly not gastric bypass. The secret to ultimate weight loss is calorie density. Now, calorie density is not counting calories or counting carbs or counting points or weighing and measuring your food on a plate. It doesn't require you to know or memorize how many calories are in a cup of rice or a half cup of blueberries. Calorie density simply requires you to know and understand what's called the average calorie density of a few major food groups. So defined, calorie density simply means calories per pound of food. If you were in another country other than the United States, you have a different measurement system, but here it's calories per pound of food. But I like to think of it as actually calories per bite of food, because many people don't really think about the fact that they're eating pounds of food, but everybody eats a certain amount of bites per food per day. And it's how many calories in a given bite of food that is going to determine how easy it is for you to lose weight. Now, where did I learn about this? Calorie density has been around ever since food has been around. And I actually learned this from a researcher at Penn State University who I have had the privilege of interviewing a few times now, and her name is Dr. Barbara Rolls, and she wrote a series of best-selling books called Volumetrics. Now, Dr. Rolls has a laboratory at Penn State where she actually studies human eating behavior. Now, calorie density is taught in many of the plant-based programs that I am aware of, many of the best-selling books in the plant-based world, for example. I believe it was 1980 when Dr. Dean Ornish, the first person who successfully reversed heart disease with a low-fat plant-based diet, he wrote a best-selling book called Eat More, Weigh Less. And when you truly understand the principles of calorie density and implement them in your life, you really can eat more and weigh less. In fact, it's possible to take in twice as much food and yet consume half as many calories. Dr. John McDougall also wrote a best-selling book based on the principles of calorie density. I believe he's a speaker in this conference. His book was called The McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. But it wasn't until I stumbled upon the work of Dr. Rolls, actually for $1. It was at $1 bookstore after I attended a movie in Burbank, California, that I really understood what Dr. Ornish and Dr. McDougall were saying in their books. And that is because I'm a very visual learner. And for me, a picture really is worth 1,000 words. And there's going to be lots of pictures, both of food and calorie density examples in this presentation. Even on the cover of her book, you could see that for the same amount of calories in a nice large bowl of a vegan minestrone soup, you could only have a very, very small piece of a cheeseburger. But it was really the picture in her book of the raisins, because I love dried fruit. I was throwing it on everything. I was having apples with peanut butter and raisins. But when she had this photo where she said for the same amount of calories, you could have either a quarter cup of raisins or 2 cups of grapes. And I thought to myself, wow, because I'm what you call a volume eater. I'm somebody that likes to eat a large amount of food. But if I want to do that and be slim, I have to learn how to change the calorie density of the food that I eat. And once I understood these principles, it was fairly easy. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. Now, one of the things that Dr. Rolls discovered at her laboratory at Penn State was that human beings eat roughly the same amount of food per day by weight. Now, that doesn't mean that I eat as much food as, say, Patrick Barboubian, the strongest man in the world who happens to be vegan, but that each of us consistently eats the same amount of food per day by weight in order to feel full and satisfied. And for most human beings, that's about 3 to 5 pounds of food per day. Now, you're going to learn in this presentation that food varies in calorie density from about 100 calories per pound to about 4,000 calories per pound. So there is a 40-fold difference in the calorie density of these different food groups. And if you're trying to lose weight or maintain your weight loss, that can be very significant. You know, most diets will tell you to eat less, and that makes about as much sense as breathe less. Because when you eat less food, you get more hungry. And while most people can white knuckle it or use willpower for a while to do these weighing and measuring or calorie counting programs, they really don't work for most people long term. Because if what you do, you can't do forever, that weight loss is not going to be sustainable. But when you understand the calorie density approach and simply instead of changing how much you eat, but change what you eat, you can actually learn to eat more, weigh less, and feel full on fewer calories. You know, one of the things that Dr. Rolls discovered is that it's not just the calories in the food that cause us to be feeling full and feeling satisfied, but the weight and the volume of the food. And this is really important because there is a way to add both weight and volume to your food with no calories, and that's water. Now, this isn't about drinking more water. Of course, drinking water is very healthy, but she's even done research where she's given people food and had them drink water, and this didn't work for calorie density. The water has to be bound to the food, like you'll learn in this presentation, like, for example, in a soup. You see, water by itself, if you drink it, has very poor satiety because thirst mechanisms and hunger mechanisms are very difficult. And water will exit the digestive tract too quickly for you to feel full from just water. But when water is bound to the food, it makes a huge difference on how full you're going to feel. And if you feel full, you'll be able to stop eating sooner. You ever wonder how come the first 3 letters of the word diet or die? Because when you go on a diet, you'll feel like you're going to die because eating less food is not sustainable. And when you understand calorie density, you are going to probably be able to eat more food than you're eating now.